Hey, welcome back to Left 4 Dead Garage. We're on video 2 of the Marketplace El Camino. I got busy and didn't pay no attention, and I didn't video before I started. So the motor and transmission are already married together. I've already made a massive mess in my freshly pressure washed floor, so that's kind of how it goes. I'm going to spray this front part of the frame and whatever I can reach with some flat black. Not really so much worried about the steering parts, because once it gets back on the road, and I guess when actually winter gets here, it's coming back, and I'm gonna do the whole front end, upper lower control arms, all the steering stuff. So didn't really want to waste time painting that stuff because it's just gonna get thrown away anyway. So I'm gonna get this thing ready, put some paint down, and as soon as that dries, I'm going to hang the motor in. I do not have the clamshell mounts. Larry took those home and painted them. I could probably set it on the transmission cross member and dangle it in there and put the clamshells on once it's in there. I still have to put the transmission lines on, so it kind of needs to stay up in there. And the dog's barking. So, but yeah, let me get some paint thrown on this thing, and we'll see if we can make some progress. All right, a little bit of progress last night. Got the whole shebang swung in there, just dangling right now. There's a transmission jack down there holding up the transmission, obviously cherry picker holding up this end. Got a block of wood under the oil pan just to, you know, in case it did bleed down a touch. And I'm gonna jump under this thing and just go ahead and put the transmission cross member in place, and just set it together that way it's holding the transmission up. Although I may wait. It may be easier to wiggle this thing around for other reasons that I don't know yet if I've got it on the transmission jack. I don't know. It's as broad as it is long, right? So as soon as he gets here, put some motor mounts on, slowly start going forward this thing, and I'll show you the progress as we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and hang this fuel pump on there because I don't really think it'll be in the way. I don't know if you know this, some do, some don't. I guess that's the case with anything, right? The fuel pump push rod can be a pain in the hiney. So what I've got here, you can see the push rod in there. My needle nose pliers are underneath it. See how it falls down? So your fuel pump has a little arm on it that has to go underneath that push rod. Well, let me cut this off for this demonstration. There's a bolt right here. There's a bolt boss right there. Well, for the most part, that thing should go all the way through the inside of the block. You can kind of see, I hope you can see, my flashlight light coming through there. Well, what you do, you'll take you a bolt, you'll run it in this hole right here, and it'll bump up against that push rod. You gotta be tight. See, my pliers move when I tighten the bolt. So, and then take my pliers out of the way, and that push rod stays up. Now it has to be on, it can't be on the cam lobe, because the cam's what runs that push rod. So it has to be on the small side, the base circle, I guess you could call it, of the cam lobe for the fuel pump push rod. But that little bolt will hold it there. You can put your fuel pump in, get a bolt started, and this is just a bolt for the fuel pump itself. So if you didn't know, now you know. Also, you want to put a bolt back in that little boss right there. It needs to be short, 1/2 inch threads, whatever, no more than the depth of the boss itself. Put some silicone on the threads, put it back in there. That way it'll keep oil from pouring out, and it's not long enough to hit that push rod. So just keep that in mind. All right, a little update. It is in its permanent place, hopefully. Manifold's on. This manifold was a challenge. I don't know if there's something up with the manifold, or if the bolt pattern the exhaust manifold bolt pattern in the head was off, but I ended up having to drill all the bolt holes out with like a 572 drill, I believe is what it was. And you can kind of see it was off about a quarter hole. Like I could get the back two, the middle two, but these two up here wouldn't line up, or vice versa. You could put these two on, and those wouldn't line up. The passenger side was fine, a little snug, but nothing like this. So I don't know if it was a cylinder head deal or a manifold deal. Either way, got it sorted out. It's on top dead center, distributor's in. I still haven't dropped it on the oil pump shaft. I don't fiddle with the screwdriver deal. I'll bump the motor over with the switch and let it fall in. Oil pressure sending unit for the gauges is in. Water temp is in. I would put it in the intake manifold, but there's no room right here. So cylinder head it goes. Water pump is on, balancer, lower pulley, power steering pump's being painted, or it has been painted. I'm drying. Just got the transmission lines on. You've seen the fuel pump earlier. Changed the kick down cable, which if you leave the transmission mount out, you got plenty of up and down room, and you can get right to that cable there. Just pull it out. It's like a little S hook, hooks on there. Plenty of room to get to the transmission lines like this. So I still have to change the tail shaft seal and U-joints and all that, so I'm just going to leave this yoke slipped in there until then. Still have to do transmission mount. Had to find bolts for the tail housing because that transmission mount that was in there had no bolts in it. So, yeah. Right now I'm about to hang the starter and see if I have to clock it, which it shouldn't be a problem because it's not near anything now with the header gone.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Product, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
All right, I don't even remember where I left off. Got more of the accessories on. Figured out this was some janky quick fix for an alternator belt, so not going to use that. The big belt on the windshield, more than likely is part of the air conditioning power steering setup. We're going to get the correct belt that runs, you know, all of the pulleys. This was more than likely an air pump. Going to make a stud for this guy. I lost the bracket. What to do with it? Here, right here. So that goes on like so, and then had to chew on that hole a little bit. But that slot goes right here, and then the nut that for this stud will sit, and then that's got a little doohickey it sits on, so it's gonna have to sit something like that because that's got to line up together, and then this hole goes to that, and then they had about $18 worth of flat washers making the spacer here, so I would like to actually make a spacer instead of stack washers. And yes, I have different valve covers. I don't know if I mentioned that. I didn't want to beat up Larry's good valve covers. It's hard for me to video with people around because I would just rather talk to people around. And plus it started raining, and this is not a good setup for videoing in the rain. It's so loud. So, but we'll have more action footage here shortly. But that'll be it for today. So see you tomorrow. Man, I've been struggling all morning on this thing. It's the belt. It's killing me. I thought I had it figured out. Then I had so many belts out here I got completely lost. I've made 3 trips to O'Reilly's today. Got the hose figured out. This aluminum water pump, this aluminum radiator is 1.5 inches at the radiator The other one was 1.25 inch, the factory one, so that upper hose wouldn't work. C10 with air conditioning, it works. So, but my belt problem, squirrel brain there. As you can see, this is terrible. It is absolutely awful. It almost looks like it should run on the back side of that. But if I move the single crank to power steering to the front, then the belt hits the water pump pulley. Now it's dangerously close down here. I know you can't see nothing. It's dangerously close to the back of the water pump pulley, but there's a Monte Carlo. I don't think you can see it. If you look right through the windshield of the Suburban, you can probably see it. So that thing showed up, and I looked at the belt layout, and this is how it is laid out. So it's an 85 305. This is an 83 305 or 305 car. It should be the same, right? Well, I like to never got the compressor belt on. I had to take the whole bracket loose to put it on there. It's a 39.5 I couldn't get on, but a 40 I could get on that was too loose. But the compressor is hitting the valve cover down there, so I've got to try to like pull it back some. But the alignment is so goobered. Now it looks good, goodish. There's a little sway there. I feel like if it came out this way, it would straighten that up. But if you go down to the power steering, that thing is jacked up. But the back belt to the crank pulley looks good. Well, you probably can't tell that on the camera, but so I don't know what is going on here. So it looks like maybe the power steering, now I shimmed it out right there with those washers because it was bad crooked, but it looks like it's tilted like this now, like the bottom of the pulley is forward and the top's in. This thing is whooping me. Should have been running. Like, I fully expected to hear this thing run today. I'm too hung up on these belts. I guess what I could do is just come back to them, keep on keeping on, and then deal with this at the end. I don't know. They had a total different belt set up with it all cobbled together. Like the water pump only ran the alternator, and then somehow they had a belt around all the other accessories running the AC compressor and the power steering pump. It's a mess. They've got bracketry. You can see there's some sort of thing welded here, and then that hits the valve cover, so that can't be right. When I had the compressor out this way a little bit more with another belt I had, I ran out of travel, but the actual lines would end up behind this bracket. But this bracket is part of the belt, is part of my adjustment, so it's got to be there. I don't know. It's a mess. Figured out one way or another, but yeah. So I've just been fiddling. You ain't missed anything. So I'm gonna get back to it, and if I figure it out, I gotta get back to it. All right, I'm going to weld this little doodad back on here. It wants to go crooked when I pull on it. I figure if I put a ratchet in here, maybe I can keep the front of this thing pulled around and get it closer. But yeah, I want to grind it, clean it up, and then weld it all around. That way I can put that ratchet in there. It's supposed to look like that. But so let's drag the welder out. All right, back on this thing. It is Saturday. I'm running way behind. I should have already had a video put together. I kind of lost sight of the video goal, and I just kept working. And well, I don't really know where we're going to end this one off. My major, I would like to hear it run at the end of this video. That way we have something to look forward to as content here. So yesterday I battled these accessories. That AC compressor is still not where I want it. You can see that belt is not in line. It is in line across the top, but it is not in line at the bottom. So is it the power steering pump? But if you look at the back belt to the crankshaft, it looks in line. And from the bottom, it also looks in line. So I don't know what is going on right here. I had a spacer, so I spaced that out. Instead of stacking washers, I ground the back bolt down. The belt is tight. Power steering belt is tight. Those are kind of a pain to get both snug, because the power steering pump doesn't swing like it's supposed to. Kind of got this wiring stuff situated. This is my bump button, so that is not part of the car. I need to go back and tape the rest of this. I started taping some of this. I know he wanted to thin out some of this, but this compressor ties into whatever the heck this relay, maybe it's a compressor relay, I don't know, but it also, when I pulled wires, it went that way. So I'm going to leave it for the time being. Still need to drop the distributor in. I should have powered everything, power from the battery to the alternator, ignition purple wire down to the starter, the 12-volt supply to end the cars down to the starter. So I need to drop this in on the oil pump. A lot of people fiddle with a screwdriver. I've went over this several times before, but if you don't know, you don't know. A lot of people line that oil pump up with a screwdriver and it takes 3 or 4 tries. I do not do that. It's a waste of time. And if you do it this way with a Ford, it's even better, because a Ford is a hex drive, not a slot drive. So we know we're on number 1 cylinder. We verified that when we put the motor together. So what I'm going to do is take this here camera, and I'm going to just lightly put pressure down on the distributor body, bump this over. It will find its home. It will still be on number 1. It just won't be pointing at number 1. It won't be at top dead, but the distributor is in where it's supposed to be. So, because we are kind of pointing that general direction, here we go. Let's bump this thing around and get it on the oil pump drive rod. There it goes. So we are in the oil pump. I need to put my hold down on back there that you can't see, and hopefully we can get this thing to fire off at least for a second. I need to change that valve cover and put some bolts and nuts on that stuff. It is still open manifold, so it will be loud, and I will not run it long that way, because I kind of like to hear if something is going on that I need to be hearing. So I don't have the gauges hooked up either. I could put a mechanical gauge back in this thing real quick. It wouldn't take but a second. I'll be out here anyway, so I may just do that. I may just thread my mechanical gauge back in, and because I'm gonna be out here watching it. All right, let's get the carburetor on, distributor cap wires, all that fun stuff, and see if I can move forward to getting it to start. All right, I'm running out of time for what I can be down here today, so just going to try to do a quick and dirty startup on this thing. Got distributor wires, carburetor. I put some fuel down the bowl of the carburetor. Plug wires are on. Distributor's wired. Let's see, this choke light causing me a problem. Yeah, we are pumping. Come on. Well, I'm unsure how much footage I just lost, and I just did the first start on this thing. Go to look at my GoPro, SD card error. I may smash this thing after this, because I am just so sick and tired of GoPro and the crap that comes with it. Anyway, it runs. You may or may not have missed that, but we'll try it again. Matter of fact, I'll just crank it off the key, because I used the bump switch earlier. So, and here we go. Maybe I won't crank it off the key. Oh, let's give it a little shot of the sauce there. Not gonna run it any longer because no coolant, and I haven't put coolant in it yet because I got to cut this one heater hose and replace this heater control valve. This one's pretty crusty, and it also looks like it's stuck open, so it absolutely would do no good. So I got enough content for this video, and I will call that a success. Still got lots to do. Odds and ends, converter's not hooked up, drive shaft's not in, shift linkage isn't on, coolant, like I said, tidy up some wiring. Hey, the belts didn't fly off. That's a good thing. What else? Vacuum for the brakes, vacuum for the distributor, just general tuning, and just tidying up. It's alive, so we'll call that a win. Thanks for watching Left 4 Dead Garage. We'll see you on the next one.